is a Centurion game from patch 9.0. It ended up being a loss, which you'll see coming from pretty early, and it wasn't a very good match. I ended up doing pretty much everything, myself and Rothmog. And in this, I've got a couple points to go over with regards to the changes to Centurion. Mostly it's turret. Now, normally on this map I will take my mediums into the town, into the city, because seizing that city and holding it early on is probably the most important thing to do on this map. But because the Centurion is quite large and doesn't have much hull armor, and has quite a low rate of fire, it's not very well suited to brawly fights or cities in general. What it is suited to is longer range open areas where I can put my good spotting distance and very powerful, very accurate gun to use. So this is one of the few tanks I still actually bring down the rails on Live Oaks. Unfortunately, we've got a T-54 coming here as well. He would be much better off in the city. Got lag sets up to try and get shots across at the enemy ridge. And it has just occurred to me that the replay system actually resets your settings for the scope overlay, so I actually have that turned off now, but because it's a replay, it shows it turned on. T-54 is in my usual position, so I have to take one just next to him. Double tap goes into the IS-8, I get lit, don't want to get RD'd, so I back off. If you've been watching the chat at all, you can see how puppy mines really work. Apparently the T-57 is fun, but not a good tank, and autoloaders have been nerfed into irrelevance. Such is the belief of puppies. I decided to try and hook around this side and see if there's anything coming down here. If not, I was thinking of maybe getting under the bridge with that, but I should have been paying more attention to the map because pretty plainly there was stuff across the water. Not within render distance of me, I thought, but actually it turns out there was a Waffenträger Panzer IV at the other end of the bridge, just near the IS-8, and he actually could render me. Got lag, gets taken out by a 704 unfortunately. And now we have way too many tanks on the rails here and nowhere near enough in town. As well as that, our guys in town aren't really being aggressive at all, they're just turtled up behind a building, which is useless, they may as well not be there. Try and respot the IS-8 or the Waffenträger Panzer IV, and there we go, that was the Waffenträger, I believe, that hit me. I didn't take it very well. So just to pan the camera around, it hit me right on the edge of the turret side under the smoke grenade launchers, almost head on. Now, actually it may have been the ISU, probably was 667 an ISU low roll. Okay, so it's a BL-10, I mean, I know it has really good hand and overmatches the thing, but it hit me almost flat on, surely that should be water bounce, which I think calculates first anyway. That would have happened even before the 9.0 patch, but as you'll see in a bit, the descent does take hits now that previously wouldn't have done anything to it. I roll up looking for shots on this guy, unfortunately whiff at the last second. T-57 Heavy on the thing got his turret blown off by an ammo rack explosion, and he's more concerned about his repair cost than the fact that we've just lost a tip in Heavy. I mean, repair cost isn't even a thing I consider at all when I play this game, so I don't know. The world of the puppy. T95 gets taken out before I can get in there. So even though things are looking pretty bad, well, terrible in fact, up in the city, I decide it's worth trying to deal with the tanks here first, just so they won't chase us all the way back into our own spawn. As it happens, that was probably a mistake, but I did end up doing pretty much the vast majority of damage in this match, so even though I did misplay several times in this match, I honestly just am quite happy to sit here blaming my team for not doing their share. In fact, most of them didn't do anything. I have got a couple of other Centurion matches lined up, which are a lot less shitty, where my team actually does decide to participate in the match, or at least doesn't drag me under with them. So around here I realise it's futile trying to take out these last couple of guys down here, and I need to head back to base. Rothmog's already back there. I try and get these two to follow me, because if they stay there, they're fucked. Unfortunately, they're complete idiots, two of the worst players on our team, and so only the JT starts turning around. The Rheinmetall actually stays there, gets killed, and then spends the rest of the game bitching about it. Narrow miss there from Hardy. A good sign. I need to change direction, and then I'm reel it again. Now, at the time I wasn't really thinking, but it soon becomes apparent what actually lit me. It was an AMX sitting around C7 in those bushes, because as soon as I try and cut across the field here, I end up spotting him. Looking for shots on the 268, unfortunately there's a building in the way. I do manage to get a shot into the KV4, which almost kills him, but not quite. And then, there we go. The Rheinmetall is bitching up a storm. That we ran off, and we're cowards. He was told to come back. He should have been looking at his map and seen that we were leaving, but because he's an idiot, he thinks it's the task of his entire team to keep him alive. In fact, the only people on the team who need to be kept alive are the best players on the team. The shit players are expendable. If you have to throw them under the bus to win the game, do it freely, and if they complain about it, tell them to fuck off. Most of these idiots can't even contribute their own hit points and damage, so they're not worth saving. Especially not worth me risking my tank to save. There's the AMX. He's not really a huge threat to me, but his spotting is, because there are much bigger guns than him, which are in the area, starting with this guy. So I know he's got the 128, he's actually really dangerous. The 150 does a lot of damage, it hurts a lot, but because it has such a long reload comparatively and bad handling, you can really just get in close and kind of negate its advantages. The 128 on the other hand is a very solid gun. Gets a hit in there. At this point, myself and Rothmog know we've lost the game. There's really nothing we can do to save it. It's just trying to make it as costly as possible for the other team. There goes another hit through the front of my turret. That one hit directly above the gun mantle. Now, on the old Centurion model, the gun mantle was just ever so slightly bigger, and it probably would have eaten that shot, or at least had a chance at eating it. They did improve the sloping on the turret roof, so it's better angle, but when you're facing guns that size, angle doesn't really matter, it's thickness that does. So it was probably overmatched. All in all, the armor changes to the Centurion are a pain in the ass. I don't think it's rendered the tank useless, but I think it makes it a lot riskier of a proposition to try and fight hull down at close range like I used to. at longer range even, it's still a bit dicey. So I would have preferred it if they just left the tank alone, quite honestly. The gains in angle on the turret roof and hull upper plate weren't worth the loss of turret face and mantlet armor, and the turret sides as well, which is quite important. But the tank is still very much workable. I just wish they'd given it something to account for the loss of armor. Even just a small boost to gun handling so it can peek and poke better over hills, or a small DPM boost, something like that. Because the whole armor and the turret roof are, not only is it going to get overmatched anyway, it's basically irrelevant. I mean, the whole armor you shouldn't be getting hit in anyway. Or if you do, you should be trying to minimize the amount of hits you actually take there. This is a tank you play hull down. It's not a tank you can really charge into a city and fight on flat ground with. And so the actual increases in armor in certain areas were areas you don't need armor. Whereas the area you do need armor, the turret face, and to an extent the turret sides, is now much less effective. Here, I know the game's pretty much over. I figured maybe if I can take out both the enemy arty and then hook around from the back, I might just have an outside chance at winning this. .261 is spotted. I get my first shot in. Looking for the second here. I stop, and it flies to the edge of the circle, and that's the end of that. So, pretty high damage game, but the team just wasn't there. You'll be able to see in the post-games exactly what they did, but if I recall correctly in this particular match, I think there were maybe 3 or 4 of us that did over 2,000 damage. Most of them didn't even break 1,000. And, in fact, most of them just threw their tanks away without doing anything. But, it happens. A lot of people, when it gets to that point, the game's pretty much guaranteed a loss. They'll drive into the water or start team killing or jump off a cliff or whatever, or just quit out back to garage. Don't do that. I always play to win. Even if it's so unlikely, it's still worth trying. And at the very least, you'll still get more XP and more credits because you still do more damage. But in the coming, weeks, months, who knows with my internet, there will be more Centurion replays. They will hopefully be better games, and I'll also have some replays coming up from other tanks as well.